Last night's episode of Love Island, episode 13, was too much. Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it on up. I've been seeing some discourse online suspecting that everybody watching this season is just a new viewer and that new viewers are the ones who are surprised by the season. I think that there's a couple of things happening. I'm sure that that's happening, right? But I also think that as someone who's been watching Love Island, I'm not new to Love Island, I'm true to Love Island. I've watched the different franchises. I think that what's happening is viewers have aged. Now, granted, I guess as we age, we think that everything should be curtailed towards us. I guess that's a sign of us aging, but it just feels like the show is missing the mark, especially with people who are in their late 20s, early 30s. And older. It just feels like this show is draining to watch. It's not as relatable. We can identify the toxic behavior. We've been there, we've experienced that, and to watch it play out, it just feels redundant. It just feels redundant. So I'm sure that some viewers are new, but I think that we have every right to feel drained by this situation because it's toxic. It's toxic. You're going to hear me talk during my recap of episode 13 multiple times about how I think Huda needs to go home. I have said this since early days. I don't mean this in a patronizing way of like, I'm really worried about her. I mean this in the sense of she needs to go home. This experience has already been a lot for her. We haven't even made it to Casa. And the relationship is a lot for her. It was in a very intense relationship. Sensitive information has been shared online about her that she doesn't have her phone to have access to even know about. And I just worry that it's too much. The online response, some people are like, well, I think Huda should stay in so that the public can change their mind about her. There's no guarantee that that will happen. There's no guarantee that if she and Jeremiah do explore other connections, that things will be different. There's no guarantee that they ever even explore different connections. And yeah, it's just draining in this villa. So let's get into the episode. The episode starts with another draining couple who we don't have to watch anymore. I'm going to be honest. A lot of people are really like, oh my God, like it's so sad that Charlie went home. I don't feel that way. Okay. I get it. Some people just watch reality TV on screen. They don't keep up with stuff going online, or stuff online doesn't impact how they feel about reality TV. I totally get that. I'm not somebody that's able to do that. I'm glad Charlie went home. He's alleged MAGA. He's an alleged Zionist. So bye, Charlie. Sorry, Charlie. I was waiting for him to go home. And anyways, I was not invested in him and Hannah's connection. I just wasn't invested in it. So the episode starts with Charlie chatting to Hannah, who is feral. She is weeping. I'm calling her the weeping widow throughout this episode because that's what you would think happened. So Charlie is talking to Hannah and asking her to promise that they give things a shot in the outside world. They at least give it a try, that she tries to not have such a serious connection, that they don't explore things in the outside world. Fat chance. Okay. Fat chance of that happening, Charlie. And that's a pretty big ask. Like, I don't know, that's a pretty big ask. You didn't necessarily say what you would be doing in the real world, but okay, yeah. Charlie wants to try things out in the real world. We've heard from Hannah's sister online that she is not MAGA. So, and that Hannah's sister was happy that Charlie got sent home, even though she was sad to see her sister upset. So I think that once Hannah finds that out, I don't think that that relationship is going to happen anyways. So, as you remember, episode 12 ended with the vote to see who was going home because three people were left vulnerable after our recoupling. It was Taylor, while Charlie is talking to Hannah and saying his goodbyes. There's a conversation between the boys where Austin is confronted for his vote. He's confronted by Ace and he's like, "Why did you vote for Taylor?" Mind you, after we recoupled people, three people were left vulnerable. It was Taylor, Charlie, and Huda. And the Islanders who were not recoupled had to do a spontaneous vote one by one and say who they were going to vote to send home. Okay. So Ace is asking Austin, why did you vote for Taylor? Just curious. And I cannot be the only one. I had a conversation with a good friend this morning, and both of us, before I did my rewatch, were of the impression that for some reason Austin had voted for Charlie. I don't know why, but my recollection of this conversation was that they were upset with Austin for voting for his best friend and getting him sent home versus saying what he really thought and voting for Huda. Now, aside from what I think about Austin, because I have a lot to say about Austin and I don't think he should still be in this season. If Olandria has said that he is her bestie. Okay. Assuming they have a relationship, I'm assuming that he's probably been watching Alandria's connection and like that could be a reason. Now, there's also a possibility because Austin went third that he just said a name. Like, I think the order went Sierra went first, Nick went second, Austin went third. And at that point, Sierra said Charlie, Nick said Huda. And it felt like, would I believe that Austin just said a name and threw it out there? I could believe that as well. I could also believe that he was nervous to say that and have a problem with Huda and Jeremiah. I could believe that as well. Mainly Huda. I could believe that as well. But anyways, he's being asked, why did you vote for him? I'm sorry, but the biggest problem that Jeremiah and Huda have been through is a pancake. And we've watched Charlie and Hannah go through things in the last few weeks. And I don't really agree with that. Like, I do and I don't. Yes, the biggest problem that they've been through is a pancake. However, Pepe just came in the villa, and that was Hannah and Charlie's first issue. That was the first issue that they had. So it's not like they've been through like all of this stuff. They quite literally coupled up 15 minutes ago, which is why we voted for Hannah to couple up with Pepe because we had the impression that she had more interest over there. So I don't necessarily agree with that part. There's this conversation between the guys talking was so chopped. I encourage you to go back and just watch how hard it is to follow this conversation because it goes from talking about how the largest problem that they've been through is a pancake to all of a sudden Jeremiah being like, how are you going to tell me how to date? And I just wish that for once, production would let us see a conversation in its full. Like, come on. It's already hard enough to follow, and we're tuning in every single night. And I get it. It has to be consolidated down. I get it. But it really is hard. I give so much as exploitative as I say that Love Island is. I don't know. Maybe I'm the problem. I wish that there was like Big Brother cams to where we could hear the entire conversations that are not being aired. That's what I wish. Now, in this conversation where the guys are talking, Ace says his opinion, and he's been saying his opinion. To be fair, so has Nick. They have both been pretty vocal in thinking that this relationship is too much too soon and pointing out red flags that Jeremiah was seemingly not seeing or not caring about. Ace says that he doesn't believe that 30 seconds into things, you can be that into someone and like them that much and that that's scamming. So he thinks that Jeremiah is scamming. I would argue that it's both of them scamming, if we're being honest, because like, what? And then he said, Jeremiah was basically like, well, then stand on that. And Ace was like, I have been. I have been on the side of you guys being bullshit since day one. I've been saying that I think that it's bullshit since day one. Now, jury's still out if Ace is upset about this because he wanted the chance to explore a connection with Huda, or if he's upset about this because he is, you know, just kind of watching things go down, watching the chaos ensue, and it's just pissed him off. I think that their relationship just kind of pisses Ace off, if I'm honest. Now, Jeremiah's feeling like he lost all of his friends after this situation. Meanwhile, Huda is being rallied around the girls who think that we voted this way to protect her, that we've seen something that we don't like in Jeremiah, like he's manipulating her or possibly talking to somebody else. They're trying to give her that thought, okay? And Huda's like, I think that God brought us together. And I think that it's men's egos that don't allow another man to see them happy. And in most situations, I would agree, Huda. Like, absolutely, I would agree. But I don't think that you and Jeremiah were brought together by God. I don't think that God has ordained this relationship. I do agree that men's ego prevents them from seeing happy, but I genuinely also believed at this point in the episode, because Nick pisses me off, that Nick has been a good friend to Jeremiah the entire time, trying to be real with him. He was the only one who's been asking the right questions. And then all of a sudden he doesn't. What happened? Did production get to you? Do you have a fever? What happens? So, oh yeah. And then I want to point this out because I haven't heard much discourse about this online. Huda thought that men's egos prevent them from seeing someone else happy. That's where the delusion comes in. Like, let me stop you. The perception is not that you and Jeremiah are happy. The perception is anything but that you and Jeremiah are happy. You guys seem unhappy. All we see is you guys arguing. And Iris so much as tries to tell Huda this. Like, there's a point in the episode where Iris is like, listen, I think that she basically tried to be like, I've seen the episodes. And I think that there's just a lot of toxicity in arguing. And I think that that's the reason why you were voted for. And both Jeremiah and Huda are delusional. They're like, well, we had an argument last night in the shower. And that's because you have such a high threshold, both of them, for what they think an argument is. They think an argument is that they argued one time, and it was when Huda cursed him out across the villa. They think that that level of escalation is an argument and everything else isn't. And that's a problem. That's a really big problem. Um, we don't think either of you are happy. And if you were being honest, you're not. And if you are happy, again, I'm going to reiterate, Huda needs to be in therapy and Jeremiah needs to continue his therapy. He said he's been in 2 years because this toxicity should not make you happy. You shouldn't be comfortable in the chaos. A relationship is supposed to add to your life. It's supposed to be a constant. It's supposed to be like a hug. It's supposed to be stability. It's supposed to be kindness. And on both sides, there's issues there. Okay, there's issues there on both sides. I need Jeremiah. Let's explore the nuance of the situation, right? I'm not the perfect person to explore that as a white woman, but it's at least necessary to point out. I want to acknowledge the fact that Jeremiah is not just going to stand up in the middle of a conversation with Huda and yell over her. I'm sure it would be it's very unlikely to me that Jeremiah is in that villa and that everybody has completely forgotten about the cameras, right? Although sometimes it does seem like that with Huda, I'm going to be honest. But Jeremiah is in here as a 6 foot tall something black man, and he's not going to scream over her. He knows how that could be edited. He knows how people could take this situation. So I just feel like there's a little bit of unevenness in how he can even respond to what's going on. I also think, and listen, if you're unfamiliar with my content, this is the first time you've seen my videos, you're going to have to take my word for it, but you can go through and watch more episodes. I'm not the type of person that's constantly defending men. In fact, very rarely. But Jeremiah, see visually, I can see it happening, is getting overwhelmed by these escalations. And he tries to advocate for himself to say something. We heard him say, I'm not going to sit here and let you talk for 30 minutes and not say something, because that's how it always goes. He tries to get a word in, and it's so much being thrown at him that he's overwhelmed. You can quite literally see a war going on between his mind. Now, let me hold him accountable as well, because that's what fair criticism is, and that's what fair reviewing is. I don't like the fact that he's not leaving this situation. I heard somebody say recently, so do not give me credit for this quote. I wish I wrote down who said it, but it was sort of like, if you're not leaving it, you're choosing it. This does not apply to abusive relationships. Arguably, is that what we're seeing? I don't know. I don't know that we have enough context to say that, but it's certainly a toxic relationship. Okay. And Jeremiah's response sometimes to Huda's overreaction is to tell her that she's cute. So she has gotten like positive reinforcement for this before. Okay. I'm not saying that he deserves to be talked to that way. I'm saying that both of them are enabling and encouraging bad behavior from others, and they need therapy to address why they're accepting that. So I would like for Jeremiah to advocate for himself more. I really would. However, on one hand, I acknowledge the nuance. On the other hand, I wonder what we're seeing as far as the edit. I don't really have too many more thoughts about Hannah losing Charlie and his exit, to be honest. All I'd like to say is she was crying like Charlie was drafted, like he had a terminal illness, like she would never, ever, ever see him again. Like, you can hit him up on Instagram after, okay? Also, the legitimacy of your relationship, come on, he was in what, England? You're here in the States. It wasn't going to work anyways. We see this happen all the time on Love Island. It rarely works out when you're not in the same country, okay? But Hannah, this is on you. This is on you. We thought we were helping you. I mean, what do they say about assumptions? I guess they say that makes an ass out of you and I, but we were going off of context clues, and we had to make a vote, and it didn't seem like Amaya had a genuine connection with Pepe, so I wasn't going to put her with somebody else who's going to make her not feel chosen. really Hannah was the only person that he was being physical with and showing that big of an interest in. And Hannah, you were giving it back. You were giving it back. Now, Shelly, Iris, and Alandria and Amaya are having a conversation, sort of trying to figure out why we voted the way they did. They're just like trying to process. This shook the villa, as Alandria said. Like, they're shocked. This conversation was just so frustrating. I wish we had a line into the villa because I I don't get it. I don't I don't understand. Like, is it just loyalty to Huda? Are they seeing something in Jeremiah that we're not seeing? What is going on here? Have we heard more conversations with them than you guys? Like, that's a possibility as well. But they're wondering, like, is Jeremiah a fraud? What is America seeing? Listen, I have less of an issue with the fact that Jeremiah said when we win, because I have no idea how taken out of context those three words are in response to what she said than I do these moments of her screaming, calling him a bitch and a pussy that we do see. Like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss as to their perception of the situation. But okay, I guess we're seeing different things. Now, Austin and Jeremiah have a conversation because both of them are friendless. Austin doesn't have any friends, and Jeremiah now is without his friends because he's upset with them for voting for his couple to leave. Now, Ace has all the men gathered around, and he's talking to them to make sure that he's not the only person who feels like it was a scam. And Ace is like, I'll be damned if somebody who's actually trying is sent home versus them who have been locked in since day one. They personally agitate Ace. There's several speculations as to why. Some people think that Ace was interested in Huda. Some people think that Ace has issues with Jeremiah because he's jealous of his height. Like, some people think that Ace is bored. I think that this relationship bothers Ace. I also think that Ace has known Huda is a mother. I think that somebody slipped up and said this, and I think everybody has just not said it. I don't think he was surprised by that information at all. And I think if anything, that probably annoys him further. If I'm being honest, I'm going to acknowledge the fact I reserve the right to change my mind. Love Island puts us in a hell of a situation because I don't want to say things that are misogynistic or like talk down on women, but simultaneously, like, I have to be honest about the behavior that we're seeing on this season. Like, I can't just give endless grace. It's not making sense. Okay. And if Ace has to be the one to say that, I'm going to probably ignore the fact that it's Ace saying it and be like, does he not have a point? Does he not have a point? Like, yes. Okay. He clearly has an issue with their relationship, but he's not wrong. I'm frustrated watching them an hour a day, the time that they're in the edit. I can't imagine being in the villa with them. It's enough. It's enough. I don't care. So Austin says Ace is too passionate. I'm not even doing that. And it's like, okay, well, was Charlie really your best friend? Like, was Charlie really your best friend? Also, Austin, I just don't feel bad for you. I'm sorry. Even when stuff Austin says makes sense, you're not going to catch me feeling bad for him. Now, Jeremiah and Huda are similar in the aspects of they they go to whoever is reiterating their delusion. That's who they go to and confide in most often. They want to live in sort of like an echo chamber, and they're very similar there. Now, Hannah's sniffling up the stairs with Pepe, and she's like, I don't want you to feel bad about the fact that I'm so upset that Charlie left. I'm like, get it together. Get it together. Pepe's like, we'll take things slow. I could give a fuck. I'm sorry. It's not that Hannah's like not probably a sweet girl. It's just like, I'm not invested. I'm really not. Huda pulls Ace and asks what they see that she is not. And he was like, well, love bombing, locked in from day one, and America felt that way too. Now, the thing is, the way that Huda takes this conversation is that Jeremiah did that to her. Am I delusional? Am I delusional? You guys did that to each other. You guys did that to each other. This is a toxic relationship. You guys have done that to each other. We've seen it. We've seen it. We've seen love bombing on both sides. I'm not arguing with the fact that Jeremiah has been love bombing, but we've seen it from both sides. We've seen them both lock in from day one. Okay. Now, Jeremiah has a conversation with Iris where he was like, listen, I don't know why America did this. And she is trying to make him feel better. Do you know what a fucked situation this is? I feel bad for what we did to Iris. Okay. Like, she's paired up with Jeremiah, who didn't want to be paired up with her. And now she's trying to make him feel better. Mind you, she's a 10. Okay. She's a 10. So is Huda. Everybody there is a 10 in theory, except for Austin. And it's like, whatever. So, anyways, all the girls are 10s. So it's not you. I would feel offended, but Iris is a sweet girl. Iris is a sweet girl. So she tries to tell him, though, this is the part. She tries to tell him, you guys have been fighting a lot. And this is one of the only places where it's acceptable to explore their connections. And I feel like America was wanting you to do that. Did she have her phone? Did she have access to her phone? Because that is exactly what was happening. That is what we were doing. Yeah. Yeah, we want you both to explore other connections, and we're tired of seeing you guys fighting. Now, this is where Huda has a conversation with Ace as they're talking, and she says, I'm a mom. That's why I've been moving like this. And he's like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's what he says. Mm-hmm. He knew. He knew, and he doesn't care. Now, Huda thinks that we either hate her or Jeremiah is manipulating her and that she's not seeing it. I can't. It's like this. I don't want her to think that we hate her. I don't hate Huda. Okay? She's draining to watch on television. And as a woman who has compassion, I want her to be in therapy so that she can love herself, be less insecure, have change the way that she moves in relationships. Like, that's all. That's all. Some people are going way too far, commenting vicious things on Huda's Instagram, commenting vicious things about how she should not be a mother to her daughter. I don't think that any of those judgments are fair. And I think that that adds to the reasons why I want her to go home, because this is going to be very hard for her to process when she leaves. Okay? Like, and all we're seeing is Huda and Jeremiah, because no other couples are really liking each other. Let's just call it what it is. Like, no other couples are really locked in like that. Everybody's pretty much waiting for someone else to come in or for Casa. So we're only watching Huda and Jeremiah. Jeremiah was pissing me off at first, and I knew he would. I didn't have high expectations. Okay. Like, I didn't have high expectations for him to be stoked about us pairing him up with Iris. I thought he was pretty much going to friend zone her. And he tells her, like, I'm not going to jump from girl to girl. It's like, okay, then bye. Then bye. Why'd you come on this show? I don't care. People are like, this happens every season. And I hate it every season. I hated it when Kayla and Aaron did it. I hate it every season. I hate when toxic couples stay together. If you lock in since day one, but you're not draining to watch, then cool. Okay, cool. Good for you guys, I guess. I'm still going to be annoyed because that's what Love Island is. Go on Love is Blind. Go on Married at First Sight. Please. Like, I know that that's sort of hypocritical for the purpose of Love Island, just to find a connection. I don't really care. I don't care. Viewers are selfish. Networks know this. I'm a selfish viewer. He daps up Iris. Listen, Iris has a lot more patience than me. I also want to take this moment to acknowledge, if you're watching this video, if you're listening on Spotify, please leave me a review. Please like this video. Please leave a comment. Also, if I'm going to talk about Love Island 6 days a week, I apologize in advance for my appearance, but there's just absolutely no way that I can get ready every day. Some days I'm going to be doing my recap when I first wake up in the morning, right before I go to bed, and at moments where I don't always look good. I'm coming to you with my real self. I hope that's okay. And if it's not, you can feel free to look at the thumbnails and comment on a video where you think I look great. That's totally fair. Okay, continuing on. Ace has a conversation with Taylor, and what would Taylor, like, does Taylor care about this relationship? No, because he has to be told what to do by Ace. It's infuriating. Ace tells Taylor, see, this is what happens when you're unsure. And it's like, okay, well, now that Ace is telling you this, which is pretty much like, you need to be more sure and pursue her if you want to stay here because you almost went home tonight. That feels like bros protecting bros versus actually looking out for Elandria. That's how that conversation went to me. I'm like, put in your own effort. Like, what? What is happening? What is happening? But the comment that he made about her and not being physically attracted to her, it won't leave me. I saw Landria's mom on Facebook. She doesn't like Taylor. Fine. That's it. Say less. Fine. Same. You know, like I want better for Landria. I like Jalen. I hope that Landria likes being coupled up with Jalen long term, but Ace is a meddler. Ace is a meddler, and sometimes I can appreciate it, and sometimes I can't. Now, before bed, Jeremiah was planning to talk to Huda. He was planning to. Instead, he listens to her like yell about him in various different spots. The girls tell Huda as they're taking off their makeup and getting ready for bed that they think that we are protecting Huda. Like, being my most generous self, yes, protecting both of you because you shouldn't be in a relationship together. So let's see how you move with other people. And if you guys either will not separate and stay together, then you're going home. Or if you get into another relationship and you're just as draining, you're going home. I don't think this type of TV is fun entertainment. I don't think it's fun entertainment. If that makes me old, if that makes me Love Island's not ideal demographic, then so be it. But this is draining to watch every single episode. Taylor and Aaron were a lot last season, and this surpasses that. This surpasses that. I don't care. It's too much drama. Like, Taylor cried more, okay? But I'm talking about the level of tension in the relationship that was pretty constant in the locking in since day one. It's never fun to watch. It ruins the show. Bring in people who are open and who are hopeful for a relationship. Don't bring in people who want to lock in since day one. Now, I did an episode that has a little bit more of an emotionally intelligent take on this with my friend Janae. We recapped episode 12 together. She's a therapist. We talked about why people may be showing up the way that they're showing up. I do have space for that, but this is just my recap. And for right now, I'm annoyed as fuck, even just reading this. I really am. So before bed, Jeremiah's waiting to talk to Huda. And she's yelling to the girls about how Jeremiah did not check on her one time throughout the night. Listen, I've seen a lot of men being like, Jeremiah should have checked on him. That's completely fair. That's completely fair. I can't look at things from that perspective. I'm having a mental block. I'm only able to look at this situation as how I would react. And I would be overstimulated, processing, probably arguing with my friends, the same as Jeremiah was, and just trying to figure things out, putting myself in Jeremiah's shoes. Okay. And I wouldn't immediately run to Huda. I would be trying to understand what was happening there. I'll have to go back to episode 12 to see what was happening, but I wouldn't be running to comfort Huda. Also, the girls were doing it. The girls were around her. I don't know. I don't know. It seems like 1 second people want Jeremiah to back up from Huda and draw healthy boundaries and not accept when she's like um having potentially like an escalated reaction or something and like move back from it. And then it also seems like people want him to be locked in on everything and allow that treatment. Like, no. Main point. If Jeremiah coupled up with Iris and this was his decision, he did this, he surprised her, okay, then I would get why he would need to go and comfort her. Okay. Maybe I'm having a block to this. I'm willing to revisit this in a few more episodes. Now, here's the other thing. Does Jeremiah not have a right to like process things? Like, I feel like this is still the same night, right? So he hasn't checked on her yet. It's like when somebody preemptively yells at you and they're like, "Well, you didn't say thank you." And it's like, "Well, you didn't even give me a chance to. Like you just did this for me and then I was literally just about to say thank you." Like I just don't really like it. I don't like it. Huda showers, Jeremiah standing outside. I can't tell if they had a conversation before because all we see is Huda showering and yelling outside of the bathroom at Jeremiah. And he's standing outside there and she's like, he's a bitch, he's a pussy, my husband would never, fuck him. And I wouldn't stand around to have a conversation either. I rarely think it's appropriate to role reverse situations, but I'm having a hard time not doing that with this situation. because if my partner is calling me a bitch, a pussy, out of my name, it offering me no grace either. Mind you, I didn't ask for this to happen. I'm startled as well. I also wish that we were still coupled up. Okay? Like maybe a little bit of empathy, grace. You don't know me that much. You don't know how I process things. But no, like there was none of that. Like that to me is not healthy. I don't think that people should um I don't think you should be okay with calling your partner derogatory names. I've talked about in my content how it's actually everybody can move how they want. I'm speaking from my experience. I'm speaking from my opinion. I think that once you start calling your partner on a regular basis a bitch, a pussy, each other, that the respect in the relationship is lost and you're like, I don't know. I don't know. I think that that's a mistake. I'm not saying that women don't have a right to be like, that was a bitch move. That was a bitch move. I understand that. This is different. This is different. And we are 2 weeks in. We are 2 weeks in. Now, it's nighttime. I believe Jeremiah shares a bed with Iris. I believe. I barely even saw that. What I mostly saw was Huda sleeping by herself and putting the blankets over her face. Okay. In the morning, they're woken up for a date. They're woken up at 5 a.m. and they're all going to go on a boat. At first, Jeremiah was like the only one who was forlorn about going on a yacht. Then he leaned in a little bit more into the date. And again, I get it, but I felt like at first I was like, okay, he's about to dismiss Iris again. He's about to dismiss Iris again. Now, they leave at 5 a.m. The rest of the islanders are not awake. When they do wake up, and I guess that they walked out very stealthily because I'm a light sleeper. I would have woken up. When they wake up, Huda is the first to wake up and she walks right over to Jeremiah's bed because it looks like he's not there. And she stands over it, looks to see where everybody else is. And she goes and wakes up Taylor. And she's like, I think those fucking bombshells. If I was Taylor, I would be like, do not wake me up. I am not a morning person. This is where Nick is fake. Nick and Taylor are talking in bed. Nick goes, waking you up isn't going to bring them back. Okay? Like, Nick, pick a fucking side. Pick a side. You're pissing me off. You're pissing me off. Either get with Alandria, pick a side. Like, you're pissing me off. You're not, sometimes you're asking the right questions. This episode, you pissed me off. Okay? Now, Jeremiah goes kayaking with Iris. Hannah goes snorkeling. And Alandria took a walk on the beach and got a massage. Fast forward, while everybody is gone, Ace pulls Shelly for a surprise date. I could care less. No, I'm not moved. I don't think it's cute. I don't give a fuck. Why are you taking her on a date when Iris isn't there? If Iris was there, would this date have been for Iris? Were you just bored? Is this something to do? I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed at you showing attention to Shelly at times only when it's convenient for you or beneficial with you, or you are single. You don't have somebody currently interested in you or somebody else to talk to. It very much treats her like a second option. And I find it annoying. I find it annoying. He steals a kiss from her later in this episode. I'm like, and then the way after he was like, tries to play cool and act mysterious. Like, dude, you're a loser. You're a loser. I get it. He's 22 years old. At 22 years old, guys call each other simps for being interested in girls. And I find that lame. I find that lame. Alandria gets a massage from Jalen on her date, finds out that he was raised by all women, finds out a little bit more about him, says he's good with his hands. This was a good date for her. And this is the thing. I'm happy that Alandria is on a date. I was waiting for two men to fight over her. She deserves to have multiple options. But when she comes back, Huda, her friend, who Alandria was just comforting the night before, is not excited for her. She's not excited. She said, I could give a fuck. Obviously, that's about Jeremiah going on the date, but they all went together. This was a group boat thing, okay? Now, Huda is wondering back at the villa if Jeremiah's love bombing her. She's also saying that she likes to take the lead because he's a selfish bitch that has never put her first, and it's never been about her in the villa. I don't know. I don't know that Jeremiah is finding the opportunity to plan dates or why he would want to plan dates when every day he's just being nitpicked. Like you, I don't know. I don't know. This episode was really infuriating. Iris talks about how crazy and clingy dating in LA is to Jeremiah, and he can like find some commonality in that. He relates to that experience, aka Huda. He thanks Iris for being patient with him while he's coming out of his shell, and the date ends with a quick hug from them, and they hold hands as they walk away. I have very slim hopes that Jeremiah pursues any connection outside of Huda. I don't think it's going to happen. And we'll get to why in just a few minutes. Now, Austin and Shelley talk, and he complains more about a love triangle. Austin's depressing. Austin is as draining as Huda, but we just see him less. He is so draining. Fucking self-soothe yourself or do more. Arguably, you planned one date that was fucking weird and that's it. And it was minimal effort because you let it and everything. But he doesn't even have friends in the villa, probably because he's a weird MAGA and people are probably, I don't know, noticing certain things about his behavior. That's my opinion. Now, Ace steals a kiss from Shelley. Like I said, I'm not moved. Okay? Now, Huda, look, they come back from the boat. Everybody's like screaming, oh, we're so excited for you. Oh, Alandria's freaking out. I'm sorry, Shelley is freaking out for her friend Alandria on the boat. Huda goes and sits by herself, puts her sunglasses on, and she looks like the meme of the woman who's sitting in bed with her sunglasses, bothered. She said she's unbothered. Drop the prefix. You're bothered. You are very bothered. Okay? And it's like, Alandria can't even be happy about her date. Nobody's supposed to be happy because you're unhappy. It's just, that's why it's exhausting. Everybody's happiness is contingent around how Jeremiah and Huda are doing. Meanwhile, they've claimed to be mom and dad the entire time, and they've been fine while other people are going through things. So it's so annoying. Okay. Also, while they were gone, Nick has a conversation with Huda. I'm annoyed. This is at the point of the episode where I'm annoyed because it feels like Nick was already starting to walk back some of the things that he said. And it's like, okay, moving on. I can't even give it more space because my blood pressure has been getting a little bit high this episode. Alandria has a conversation, tells the girls about her date. She's talking about her massage. And Iris has to go talk with the male bombshells that she was just with all day because she can't go and talk to the girls freely because Huda is there. That's what I gather from the situation. Jeremiah says in hindsight, he wishes that Huda went home. And Nick's response, the one who voted for Huda to go home, mind you, tells her that he lost respect for him, not comforting Jeremiah. And he thinks that he lost respect for him just ending things with Huda because she called him a pussy and a bitch. Are you stupid? Are you stupid? You are, right? Like, what is not clicking? What is not clicking for you? A minute ago, so you only want Jeremiah to be out of the relationship when he doesn't want to be. That's what I'm gathering. I haven't heard Sierra call you a pussy or a bitch or curse at you across the villa at all. It doesn't seem like you would put up with that. So why should he reward bad behavior and say, and go to her? Like, I'm confused. He didn't vote for her to go home. You did. You did. He didn't vote to be recoupled up. We did. We did. I need Nick to put his head down, go pursue Alandria, and stay the fuck out of it. Because these types of opinions is not what I want to hear from him. It's not what I want to hear from him. Like, are you dumb? You just voted for Huda 30 minutes ago. You just complained about her this morning. Your whole thing was he was too locked in to the relationship. And now you're upset that he's not exploring it? Okay. So frustrating. That would have really pissed me off. And I would have told Nick to fuck off. I would have told Nick to fuck off. Now, Jeremiah is better than that, though. He points out the hypocrisy. He's like, now, first, you're upset that I'm not exploring Iris. Now, you're upset that I said that I would explore Iris. Flip, flop, flip, flop, flip, flop, like a fish out of water. That's Nick. Now, Huda is listening to this conversation, and she confronts the conversation by having the complete wrong information. Like, I don't know what conversation she listened to, but it wasn't the same conversation that I listened to. Because she goes and tells the girls Jeremiah is using Iris as an scapegoat, and going to pursue a connection with her and drop Huda. That was never said, actually. Actually, I don't think that was said. I think he said that in hindsight, he wished that Huda went home because things are toxic. Things are toxic right now, and you're having to deal with the fallout that his friends voted for. His friends started the chaos. They lit the match. Then they walked back and said, deal with it and be happy. I don't get it. If that makes me in need of reflection on myself as a host, to say, Leah, what's going on that you're being so misogynistic? I wanted to like Huda. And that's why I'm trying to leave space. I'm like, maybe it's not her. Maybe it is both of them in this relationship, both being toxic. It is her. Let's be clear. They both enjoy a toxic relationship, but Huda is the one I'm actively seeing be manipulative. I don't know. I don't believe that she wasn't also thinking the same thing as Jeremiah. They both locked in together the same day, the exact same day. Now, as Huda is yelling after just eavesdropping across the villa, you're a pussy, you're a bitch, fuck him. Sierra's like, keep it classy. I think Sierra has basically had it. Her facial expressions say so. Now, Huda is running through this villa with her slides. Good ad for the slides, not one trip. I know when I wear my Adidas, at least once the front of the shoe gets stuck on the floor and I look like an idiot. So let's point out things that are good when we see them. She's getting her steps in. And she's running through the villa in her slides. She dismisses the men who are sitting upstairs with Iris. And she's like, hey, I overheard a lot, but he didn't know I was listening. I overheard him say a lot, but he didn't know that I was listening to that conversation. So I need to know about your date. And then she's like, did he ask about me? Huda's like, Iris is like, he didn't really say anything. And Huda's like, he's a bitch. He is a bitch. I'm like, what do you want Iris to say? She wants to preemptively tank Iris's connection so that Iris feels the same way about Jeremiah that Huda does. It's not happening. It's even causing road rage outside my window. I doubt you guys could hear that horn, but if you could, okay. So now Iris has to comfort Huda. Mind you, Jalen and Pepe, who have been dismissed, are standing by, close by, to hear the conversation because they don't want Iris to just be by herself. And then the girls go upstairs to be involved in the conversation. I don't know. I need to know why all of the girls are validating Huda's behavior. I'm very confused. And I need to know why Iris didn't walk away. They picked the wrong bombshell. They needed someone with energy who didn't give a fuck, who walked in and did not give a fuck. Oh, you want to poll me? No. You can find out about the date somewhere else. There's millions of pick-me's in the world. Really? And I'm not saying that that's a pick-me, but someone who really does just want the guy. Just wants the guy, doesn't give a fuck about being loyal to another woman at that time. No. I came in here to stir shit up. That's what we needed. Not to humiliate Huda, not to embarrass Huda, but because this is exhausting. It shouldn't have happened like this. It shouldn't be Iris's responsibility to fucking validate how her date went. And she's clearly having bad boundaries. So pick somebody else next time who would be like, no. And when the back bend happened, would have been like, fuck off. I don't know. I don't know. Why are we claiming things so early? Why? No, that's not what Iris did, though. Iris told Huda not to waste her time, her tears, or her energy. And Amaya says the tiara was tilted and now it's straight back up. It's a mess. It's a mess of delusion. It feels like two dumb bitches on the couch looking at each other. Exactly. When did they read the tweets from America? Like, when did they, is that the only time they get to hear any of our thoughts? And I'm not saying I want them to humiliate anybody in there, but can we slip a fucking note? Can we slip a fucking note? If Jeremiah and Huda couple back up, I'm voting them out. I'm voting them out. It's been enough time dedicated to them. If the process worked that well for them, then they can go and have the toxicity somewhere else. It's not imperative to my viewing experience to get through this season. That's my opinion. So overall, I mean, some people are saying last night's episode deserved an Emmy. I mean, I found the episode like really frustrating to watch personally. Really frustrating to watch. The reason I was so invested in, and I'm going to do what everybody hates, I'm going to compare it to last season because why? It was a season that was just fucking finished. It was a season before. The reason why it was fun to watch was because we saw actual connections forming. Granted, I remember that there was Hakeem. I remember that there was Connor. I remember that there was Coy. I remember we were waiting, okay, for Kenny to come in. But there were other solid couples in relationships who we were getting to know and rooting for, and we're not having that this season. Every season doesn't have to be the same. Okay, it's like breasts. You guys can, or eyebrows. You can be cousins. You don't need to be twins, but it's exhausting. It's exhausting. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like this video, subscribe, come back for more. I will be here probably same time tomorrow to talk about tonight's episode, which I hope is a little bit less exhausting. Bye-bye.